Hi, my name is Rita Hillman-Olson, and I am the Field Director for Dr. Scott Jensen for Governor. I'm pleased to have you here with me today in this second training video. During this training video, we're going to talk about what actually happens at the caucuses. What's the agenda look like, and what should be your expectations? So here we go. It's caucus day, February 1st. Of next year, 2022. About 6:30, you head on over to caucuses so you can get into the door. As you walk up to your local school, library, community center, church, wherever your caucuses are held, you'll walk into the door and you'll see all kinds of campaign signs and so forth, and you can feel the excitement building for what's going to happen that evening. So you'll walk in through the door, you'll go to a registration desk, and one of the first things they're going to ask you is, what's your precinct? So as a refresher, what is a precinct? A precinct is an area of a city, town, or township served by a polling place. So they'll ask what your precinct is, and if you're not sure, they will have a way there at the registration table to help you identify your precinct. So you'll go ahead and sign in, and then they'll tell you to go ahead and sit down, usually in a very open area of the building. Let's imagine this is the open area of the building. They will convene the caucus. There will be letters from candidates. Your local legislators may come in and talk to you and talk to the group as a whole. But eventually what will happen after you convene is you will split into your precincts. And if you go back to the other video, the first video, we'll talk about specifically the endorsement process. This video is basically what happens at the caucus itself. So here you're going to go into your precincts, and what will happen once you go into your precincts, now this may be a table in a very open area, or it may be a room that you'll go off into with your neighbors and fellow Republicans, and you'll start talking about issues and ideas and so forth, and candidates, of course. So you're in your caucus, and there are certain things that will happen in your caucus. One of the first questions that I often get is, what do I have to do to be able to participate? Well, to be eligible to participate in a caucus, an individual must currently live in the precinct. So let's imagine this is your precinct. Do you live there? Eligible to vote and be 18 or older by the next primary, August, or the general election in November. Must be in agreement with the principles of the Republican Party and must have either voted or affiliated with the party in the last general election, or intend to vote or affiliate with the party in the next general election. So what will happen at the caucuses, they will ask you, are you eligible to participate? And you say yes, because we assume that you will be voting in the next election or voted in the last election Republican. So you are at your caucus, and there's a few things that'll go through. You're sitting at your table. There usually will be a manila envelope on your table that will have all the documents. There will be a script there, and you can see I have a script here on the table that I'm following. There also will be sheets where the delegates will be identified. Okay, so here you are. You're at your caucus. You've identified that you're there. The next step that we're going to go through is we're going to talk about the chairs. At a precinct caucus, you'll hear the term caucus chair, and you'll hear the term precinct chair or officers. The caucus chair is just for the evening. That is the person that's going to take this script and basically run the meeting. Then there's a precinct chair, and if you want to get more involved in your local Republican politics, then you can go ahead and be a precinct chair and you help organize your local area. So don't get confused with those two chair terms. The precinct chair is a 2-year term. If you're interested, go ahead and get involved, but the caucus chair is just for that evening. There will also be a caucus secretary, and then there'll be some other precinct officers. Alrighty, so you're here at your caucus. You're going through the requirements to be here, and the next thing we're going to talk about, well, what's actually going to happen there? What's the business of the caucus? Here's the business. These are the 3 main points of business that will happen that evening. You'll elect precinct chairs and officers. I've already discussed that. You'll elect delegates and alternates to the BPOU convention. We're going to discuss that a little bit more in detail, and we're going to discuss issues and resolutions. Those are the 3 main points of your caucus. So let's go ahead and talk about the delegates and the alternates. If you recall from the endorsement convention, we have people out of your precinct that will become delegates. So let's go ahead and identify that 3 delegates have been voted on. Keep in mind that when it comes to the delegate election, you can self-nominate. So you can raise your hand and go, yeah, I want to be a delegate. Or you can have somebody nominate you as a delegate. And then there'll be a vote and so forth. Now, one topic that we haven't discussed yet is what is an alternate, because there'll be delegates and alternates elected at your caucus. So what is an alternate? An alternate is a person who takes the place of a delegate if the delegate is unable to be present at the convention. So again, your caucus. You've picked delegates. And now you can pick alternates also. You'll elect them. And what happens is, let's say this delegate cannot make it to the convention. So if that delegate can't make it, then let's say that there were 2 alternates picked out of your caucus. Well, then this alternate could go in place and be what we call seated for a full delegation at the convention. Okay? So you're going to pick alternates and delegates that evening. So then going back to the other points of business, the third thing that you're going to do at the caucus is discuss issues and resolutions. Well, what is a resolution? A resolution are just ideas. Ideas presented on forms to add to or amend the Republican Party standing platform. And I really want to stress to you, resolutions are just ideas. You're not passing law, okay? And the resolutions that might come up in your caucus will go on to the BPOU convention. Just want to reinforce to you, what is a BPOU? Because we sometimes use this jargon pretty loosely. A BPOU is your basic political organizing unit. It is your local Republican Party. So as a reminder, these delegates that come out of these caucuses, these 4 precinct caucuses, will now go together onto the BPOU convention, and from there there'll be some more voted on, and they'll go on to the state convention. Please go back to the first video if you want some more information on that process. So what happens at that point in time, there'll be some last minute party activities, like for instance they'll talk about judges and polling challenges and those kinds of things, and then the meeting pretty much adjourns. And that is it. That is what to expect at your precinct caucuses, and that's grassroots in Minnesota.